Hello, and welcome to the Big Apple School podcast, the weekly English show where we speak about everything under the sun. The major goal of this show is to help you improve your English and, of course, learn something new. My name's Katya, I'm your host, and today with me
is Ken from the Philippines.
And
Maria from Russia, Novokузнецк.
Guys, we are doing our best to be as useful to you as possible, and we would like to get some feedback about it. So subscribe to our pages on Apple, Yandex, Google, VK, or other platforms, and let us know what you think about our show. So rate and review our podcasts, give us stars, leave us comments, ask questions, and feel free to send your ideas about our next episodes. It won't take much time or effort, but it will make us even better. So, and Maria, Ken, and I are going to talk about a very controversial and very topical issue, which is social networks. Oof.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me, guys, do you use social networks? Okay, no, let me rephrase it. What social networks do you use?
Yeah, it will be more correct.
Yeah. Oh, well, you may start off.
Yeah, well, as for me, I guess I use only two social networking sites, which is VK and Instagram. And for me, that's enough. I think I'm already addicted to these two.
What do you use them for?
Well, initially, I used VK mostly for listening to music. And, for keeping in touch with some friends of mine who live in another city. Because, I like how direct messages are designed in VK. I guess it's convenient. More convenient than, let's say, Instagram or maybe even WhatsApp. So I like to text there.
That's actually funny because if you ask almost any Russian person, they would say VK. So which is why it's more interesting to ask Ken.
Speaking of VK, I do have VK as well. For, our regular listeners, for sure, they've heard of me before. And, previously I was in Kazakhstan and, this social network, VK, or as you call it, VKontakte, if I pronounce that correctly. It was introduced to me by my Russian, Korean, and Kazakh students way back in Kazakhstan. And at first I thought, VK, what is it? And then they said, it's kind of like the Russian version of Facebook. So I thought to myself, okay, why not? So I created my account back in 2014 together with Instagram because I once taught at a Turkish high school. And then they insisted, Mr. Amante, why don't you get your own account on Instagram? And so I thought, okay, why not? So, but at the very beginning, I thought, but I already have Facebook. Do I have to have, VK or Instagram? But then again, if you want to stay connected and, you want to be up to date also with what the younger generation is up to, I thought, okay, why not? So Instagram and VK in 2014, but way back in 2009, I created my Facebook account. And in 2010, that was Twitter.
Ooh, and do you use all of them nowadays?
Varying degrees. Firstly, Twitter, I'm no longer that active. In fact, I have deleted the app on my phone. And then Facebook is the most active, I must say, because mostly it's for Filipino friends, including family and, some previous Filipino colleagues. Instagram is mostly about photos and friends in Russia and Kazakhstan. VK is for, it's the least used among my social networking accounts.
Yeah. So what I found interesting is that you remember exactly when you created each account. I don't, absolutely.
Very often I hear Russians describing VK to other countries, like people from other countries, as Russian Facebook, but better. Because it has more functionality to it. And to be honest, every time I log into my Facebook account, I am lost because to me, it's so difficult to
not user-friendly, maybe.
Yes, it's not user-friendly at all. And I mean, every time I scroll through my newsfeed, it's mostly resharing of different maybe dog communities or something like that, funny pictures. So I am lost. It's all the same. So I don't really see the updates of my friends' lives. So for that, I need to specifically go to their profiles, see what's new. And very, very rarely I get notifications like, oh, your friend posted a life update. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I have to admit, there's only one case, only one reason why I actually regularly go to Facebook is that there is an amazing community of people who teach Russian as a foreign language. So when I need some advice or, some help, I go there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's amazing. And at first I thought, why is it Facebook? But then I realized that most people who teach Russian as a foreign language, they live in different countries.
Yeah,
thus,
sure.
Facebook.
And then I just want to comment on, VK being better than Facebook. I am a living testament to it because I can attest that it is much better. However, because in the Philippines, of course, there aren't a lot of people who actually know that VK exists. So they mostly use Facebook. And that's why, well, for the most part, that's the account that I use. But in terms of, how easy you can go around the page, that's VK. I have to give it to VK.
And music again, especially when it was like unlimited.
Copyright issues.
Yeah, I know.
So I also recently got, on some of the social networks or websites, you get a notification when you have your birthday, meaning you've been on this website for this long. And I've realized that I've been on VK for 13 years. So it's fun sometimes to look back and see how it has evolved.
That's really long. Wow.
Have you noticed this tendency that, for example, for us, it was VK, for the world, it was Facebook. But now most people tend to move to Instagram and even exchange messages there, even though Facebook Messenger is actually more convenient.
Yeah, and there is a trend to post long reads on Instagram. I don't find them very comfortable to read and easy to read, but still there is a trend.
I think it's becoming more and more popular. And even in my country, although Facebook remains as the top social network, site or networking site, nowadays people are beginning to, create their accounts on Instagram, and it's becoming more and more popular. And I do notice that as well. I think originally Instagram is created for the purpose of sharing photos, mostly photos, and then some, short clips of videos. But then again, nowadays, people are having these long write-ups, even almost like an article. And I thought, oh, okay, so changing times, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah, and initially it was like a joke that people only post their food pictures on Instagram, but it's not this anymore.
It's actually, if we look at it, there have been so many different trends, and we can see the evolution of Instagram. So because we all posted pictures with no words maybe, but then we had hashtags.
Yeah.
Then we have tagged photos, long reads, whatnot. Now we even have an opportunity to save them, to different highlights. If it's our stories, to save the articles, the pictures to look at after. But to me personally, Instagram has become some kind of a photo album, maybe like a diary. So when I can't remember where I was at that time, or I want to remember what I did in that year or that year, I go to Instagram, scroll, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's so true, I did that. And I remember in 2017, so within the last, let's say, 5 years, I had different situations where my phones just died, and I had no access to them, and they were beyond repair. And I realized that a lot of my photos were only on Instagram. That was the only way I could actually restore them. So, and I remember in 2017, somebody hacked my account.
Oh my God.
So, and I had no access to it. And I was so afraid that they would delete all the photos before I could actually save them. So I had to contact support system. I had to send them photos of me writing something, writing my own username, sending them a copy of my passport or something. But I got hold of my account. So, and I had to have some 2-step ID system or something like that. So now I'm safe.
You're good. Yeah.
I hope. Yeah. But so you've mentioned Twitter, that you don't use anymore, more or less.
I've never used it.
You've never used it. I remember I used it once, I think, because I was following this guy who has 4 daughters and he posts like, funny things that they say, but not anymore. And what do you think about YouTube? Because this is a website or an app that millions, billions of people use these days. So what about you? Do you use that much?
Oh my God. It's probably the most used on my phone because for me, YouTube is my main source of entertainment at the moment since I don't really have television at home. And sometimes whenever I want to watch shows from the Philippines, just to remind me that, hey, you're from this country. Yeah, because sometimes I forget that, okay, I'm from the Philippines. I need to somehow reconnect with my roots, right? So I go to YouTube to watch different, Filipino shows, but most of the videos that I watch are actually from somewhere else, including here in Russia. Believe it or not, I do watch Volos, like, Russian, The Voice. Am I right?
Golos.
Yeah. Volos.
Yeah. Something different.
It's almost like hair, Volosi, right? Golos. My bad. Golos. What else? Some Ukrainian shows, believe it or not. But majority of the videos that I watch are, of course, English videos, mostly comedies. What else? Animal videos, because I love animals to death. Vloggers, especially when it comes to travel, because I love traveling. And every now and then, I engage in some petty arguments online, especially if I watch political videos. I know that we have such a thing as, etiquette online. And there is a reminder, by the way, on YouTube to be careful with the words that you use or, with the way you deal with other, commenters. But then again, sometimes you do come across with some, commenters who are definitely below the belt, definitely below the belt when it comes to commenting because, politics is a hot issue.
I think there are just people who do that, like, on purpose. They just go and throw in a comment. They're trolls, basically. So they just want to, make somebody argue. They want to annoy people, make them angry.
And I have this principle. I never am involved in any commenting online.
Absolutely.
Because I tried once. I was called a stupid idiot. And that's when I stopped it.
Like, okay, cool. Yep.
It's interesting that you don't engage because I know it's really petty and, it's a complete waste of time. But every now and then when I feel like, commenting and I have the energy and time, I do engage and I can be a bit nasty sometimes, depending on,
can you?
I am very politically aware of what's happening in the world. And sometimes I put it upon myself to educate, I'm sorry for the word, idiots online, for them to be educated. I know it's not my responsibility, but sometimes, you have to introduce some kind of point of view in order to open minds.
You're still being a teacher, even when you entertain yourself, yeah?
Exactly.
But have you noticed that you have the energy and time, but after that you have neither?
Absolutely.
So, and I have noticed that I definitely tried to educate some people on some issues that I am aware of, but I realized that they don't care. They don't want to see, what is really happening. They don't want to change their opinion. So why should I?
And maybe it's, sorry for interrupting, maybe it's because they just don't trust people online. They don't see you as an expert because you're just some random guy with a nickname. That's why.
Somehow that's true. But I must say that in my case, I do it sometimes out of pleasure, believe it or not.
Oh, is it your guilty pleasure?
Yeah, really. I guess for some reason I just love debating, but not in terms of, vocally in front of the person, but I like typing certain words and I don't know. Am I crazy? But I'm sure I'm not the only person in the world who feels
I'm pretty sure there are millions and millions. And wait, Masha, what about you?
And YouTube.
Yeah, you and YouTube.
Well, I don't necessarily see YouTube as a social networking site because there is not much socializing. Of course, there are comments, but they are not made for this purpose of communicating, I guess. But I do use YouTube. I do watch lots of videos. Mostly it's about music. I like to, not video clips, but some channels that tell us about music like that, are educational somehow. For example, I like this guy from Belarus whose channel is called Long Play. Like, I adore him. He's very informative and charming and nice. Yeah.
So you have certain YouTubers who you follow then?
Yeah.
And do you?
Some of.
Yeah, a lot of them are, travel vloggers, political vloggers as well, historical vloggers, because I do love history, and what else? Something to do with animals. I can't name the exact pages right now. I'm too forgetful for that. But allow me to ask question as well, if you don't mind. Like,
sure.
Since we are all teachers, and this is not just about YouTube, but other as you've said, you don't consider it a social network. If we talk about YouTube, but the bigger umbrella, which is social media, yeah. So whenever you read comments as a teacher, do you also comment on their accuracy in terms of grammar, spelling, punctuation?
Okay, so let me rephrase it. Are you a Nazi grammar? That's what you're asking us.
Exactly. So I want to know.
Well, I'm more of a grammar Nazi in Russian than in English. When it comes to English, I'm very tolerant because, I'm a teacher and I know that for many people it's a second language or a foreign language. So I'm absolutely okay with the mistakes. But when it comes to Russian, oh my God.
The inner devil in you wakes up.
But as I previously said, I don't comment. I just don't, I try not to be involved in this because I know it will be a vicious circle.
But you do notice the mistakes, right?
I do notice them.
But,
and they hurt me a lot.
Okay. I was about to ask that because I want to know how you feel whenever you see, oh my God, enormous mistakes.
Yeah, but some people who comment on YouTube, for example, they're just school kids and they are just unaware of making mistakes.
I feel like I'm I don't belong to this conversation about YouTube because
So you don't get annoyed?
I don't read comments in general because, if you ever
That's clever.
If you ever do, it's like you can become angry. You see them. I don't care about mistakes much as well, actually. But yeah, I don't read comments. And actually, I'm not often on YouTube. The only situation when I actually open the website itself is when I know that there is a specific video that I want to show to my students. That's it.
Yeah. Right.
So I don't really watch YouTube.
So you're not subscribed to anyone?
I am not. I wanted to subscribe to a friend of mine who's a YouTuber, and she has 500,000 followers or something. But her channel is in Arabic, which means that I can only watch the picture, and admire her, but I cannot really understand. So no, I'm not following any vlogger, any YouTuber. I just don't. But that's the only reason for that is because I live in Instagram. That's basically
That's your
my
world.
life. Yes. But I have a question though, because Ken, you said that you watch YouTube because you don't have a TV. So do you think that YouTube nowadays is replacing television for a lot of people? So
I think it already has replaced.
it has replaced. So
Well, I would say that unless you're from, I guess, the village, and your internet connection might not be so good, then you would probably still be dependent on television. But for the most part in cities, I believe that most people are, online instead of relying on television, unless, not discriminating, elderly people, because I know some elderly people who are also, online and they know how to use certain things online. But I guess for the most part, the elderly, I would say, would still watch, television. And I don't think it has totally died out yet. But I can see it sometime in the future. Not just YouTube, but any other online platforms that will take over.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. For example, I think I haven't been watching TV for 10 years already, and I don't have a TV set at my place, and I've never had. But my parents, they have 2 TV sets. So when I come to visit them, TV is always on.
Same. So my parents has 3 TVs. one in the living room, one in the bedroom, one in the kitchen. So every time they eat, every time my mom cooks, they turn the TV on. It's like the background.
Yeah.
Actually, in the summer, when they were living at the Dacha, they also brought one TV there. So they were always watching it. And it was funny because I'm like, how can you watch this trash? Because the programs really, they are just so dumb.
Well, you know,
sometimes.
my father, he even doesn't watch it. TV is just on without the sound.
Oh, so it's
And
like some
he's
kind of...
at the same time sitting at his computer.
Oh, so he just needs some kind of a not even noise,
Yeah, like white noise. Yeah,
but it's not even noise. It's
Wow.
like picture background in this
He's
case.
addicted, but to not
Oh, that's
to the program,
interesting.
but to TV itself.
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe that's some kind of a, I don't know, a habit. So they just got used
maybe
to having
it
it
calms him
on.
down somehow.
Maybe. Oh, wow. Wow. So, and speaking of social networks, so Twitter, okay, kind of discussed YouTube, VK, Facebook. But what about this super trendy social network, which is TikTok?
Oh.
So what do you know about it? Are you on there? What's your attitude?
Well,
Well, yeah, I'm sorry.
ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. I just don't think that I have a lot to say. I installed it to my phone. I checked it out. Then I deleted it. That's it. That's how it worked for me. So, Ken, what about you?
so you were never attracted. Well, in the first place, why did you
thought
download
that
it?
These videos were stupid, kind of, and I just didn't want to waste time looking for something that is worthwhile. You know, so I just thought that I'm already addicted enough to social networking sites, so. Let it be as it is.
Well, you know, in my case, I think I'm becoming old, as I always refer to myself in my classes. I always tell my class that I'm becoming a little bit of a little dedushka, like little grandfather. Yeah.
Not yet.
Oh, well, maybe physically or in terms of appearance, but in terms of age, well, I'm getting older. And in terms of TikTok, I do aware of the existence of such app, but I've never caught on the trend. Although it's really popular in the Philippines. In fact, sometimes they would upload their videos on Facebook, and for example, they play a song and then they dance to it. Others would even make jokes. I don't know, like funny videos using TikTok.
Yeah.
I find them extremely funny, but I thought to myself, I'm too old for this. Come on. I mean, I know 35 is not that old. I mean, I'm 35, by the way, but I just feel like, that's the end of my career when it comes to, being up to date with what's out there. I am content with Facebook, Instagram, and then of course, VK. That's enough for me.
I thought that if I installed it, I would get hooked up on it. Just because there are so, you don't need to think. That's the thing. And sometimes you really want to give your brain a break.
Surf, you just switch from one video to another.
But then they started, loading and uploading these TikTok videos to Instagram. So I'm why do I need to, actually install TikTok?
If all the best is already on Instagram.
Exactly. But I remember last year when I was teaching first year students, so they're like 18, 19, and they're like, Katya, have you seen this? Have you seen that? I'm like, guys, I'm not on TikTok. They're like, why? I'm like, well, at that time I had an excuse because I didn't have any memory left, on my phone. And they were showing me, the best TikToks that they could see. And sometimes I had to ask them, like, oh, yeah, that's funny. What is the joke, though? And they're like, oh, God, yeah. They had to explain it. But at some point, the professor that I was working with, we were co-teaching. So he and we were co-teaching a course on intensive Russian. And we gave a task, which is if you make a meme about Russian or in Russian, or you create a TikTok, you will get an extra credit for the course. Wow. So, and they're like, ooh, they were 18, 19-year-olds. So, they were so happy to get this task.
Of course. As teachers, we should be up to date. At least to
try
be aware
to.
of what is going on.
But what do you think made it so popular? Millions of people are there. Why?
I don't want to say that it's just a passing trend, but being the little dedushka that I am, I think it's just a passing trend. It's gonna, fade sometime later. But anyway, I have nothing against it. Just to be clear, okay? So for our young listeners out there who might think, oh, come on, it's just because you're getting old. No, I mean, I have nothing against that, okay? But I think one of the reasons why it's becoming, popular nowadays is because it's just fun. As you've said, it's something light. You don't have to really think deeply, nothing serious about it. And personally, whenever I watch TikTok videos, even though I don't have this, app on my phone, I really find it very entertaining. I enjoy it a lot. And it's so surprising because one of our former teachers here, who does CrossFit, or what does he do now? So he has a TikTok account, and sometimes he would upload them on Instagram. And I thought, oh, that's cool. And then you can change your music. Really, I find it very, very entertaining.
Yeah, it's like maybe it enables you to be kind of a creator. And it's short. I mean, videos are quite short and they're mostly fun. Not something serious or like challenging.
Yeah, that's true. And have you had the news that it got banned in several countries, like in the US, in Pakistan, in India, in Hong Kong? So do you know anything about it? Why did it get banned?
Well, I haven't heard of it, but I guess maybe because it was used by like children and there is lots of like bad content, quotation marks.
You know what? Yeah, I've heard of this news, although I didn't really read the article itself because I thought it's just TikTok. But then again, if I'm not mistaken, probably it has something to do with, the relationship between China and the US. And I don't know if it's
politics again.
Yeah, something to do with politics.
Yeah, I tried to look into that. And the main reason that was stated is TikTok got banned due to national security concerns. So they said that TikTok collects, extensive data about the users and then they can like transfer the data. But it is actually funny because if we look into this, a lot of social networks do the same. If anyone has watched, or have you guys watched the, what is it? It's a documentary called The Social Dilemma. So, and it has like a look inside social networks and different websites like Google, because we use Google all the time, Facebook and things like that, and Instagram as well. So, and I think it's kind of known that the data is being collected, but yet we don't see Instagram being banned. I think if it happened, oh my God.
I just want to put it out there, maybe because TikTok it's created by China. I don't know if you're aware of that. And I think it's all about politics. I mean, come on, like as if Facebook is, as if Facebook doesn't steal personal information. It was an issue before also.
That's a good comment because now I realize that also WeChat got banned, and that is a kind of a social network.
It's also from China.
It is. Yeah.
So it's not about like the content, it's about political issues.
Really?
Okay.
I don't want to bring politics to the table. Because I just want our conversation to be
But I will
live.
because I'm an expert.
I will do it later in my commentary section.
I'll do it
online.
later when I go home and then I start arguing again with strangers online, which I love doing.
So, and while we were talking about, social media, I said that I live in Instagram. So, which is why I want to ask you, have you ever checked your screen time?
Yes, I have. Like when I got this phone for the first time, I used to check my screen time, like maybe for a month. Then I got upset and stopped doing it because it shows that I spend a lot of time online.
Can you give us numbers?
Well, several hours a day.
Several hours is very vague, you know. It could be
it
2,
is.
it could be 9.
I don't want to be more precise.
Okay.
Like on Instagram, maybe it was about 1 hour and a half or something.
1 hour and a half. Oh. And a VK?
Well, I don't remember.
Okay.
Maybe I didn't check it about VK.
All right. Have you ever checked your screen time?
Never, but if I were to give an estimate for all the accounts, not just Instagram.
Yeah, so just the amount of time you use your phone, basically.
Well, for social media, purposes, I would say the minimum is quarter of a day.
math. Wait a second. 6 hours?
Roughly.
So when you don't
also-
teach, when you don't sleep, yeah.
Or I can even go beyond that sometimes. For example, if I do have if I'm on a holiday, for example, yeah. So
Well, then we have the time and energy to do that as well. But wow.
Yeah,
So would you say then that you are actually addicted to your phone and social media?
I think I'm not sure you can call it that, or maybe I'm just in denial that I am addicted to it.
What's the next stage? So it's denial, anger.
Oh my God, yeah.
Acceptance. There
Oh,
should
this
be
is the
acceptance.
final. This is the final.
Somewhere.
Ken is on the way to that.
I'm getting there.
So, and well, I remember when I got the new phone, it had actually a separate app or some kind of a function which was called digital well-being. And I thought, ooh, digital well-being, what's that? And then it showed me the screen time and I was like, no, there's no way. No, I can't spend like 4 or 5 hours a day. I have work. I work. I do things. But then it actually turned out to be true. Like if it's a very busy day when I have a lot of classes, a lot of things to do, then it's usually about 2 hours. But the less classes I have, the more time I tend to spend online. Even though, well, okay, it's like lying to myself, I think. But on these days that I have a very big screen time, I tell to myself, well, that's because I was looking for the videos for the classes, or I was reading useful posts on Instagram.
It sounds like, excuses.
Yes, excuses. But I have to be honest, though. I do use Instagram to communicate with the teachers in Russia and worldwide to get some ideas.
Like
to
professional
find materials.
networking.
Yes. So yeah, let's stick to that actually. Not social network, but professional network.
It's not like addiction, it's professional development.
It's like LinkedIn of today, I guess.
That sounds better.
Yeah, I like
Better
that
than
too.
addiction.
Right? But we have to, address this issue too. So, and what does that mean to be addicted to a social network then? Is it solely and only the screen time? Or do you think there are other aspects that we have to keep in mind?
Well, I guess it is maybe about like so-called fear of missing out.
Oh,
like
FOMO.
When you are not using your phone, not even social networking sites, but your phone as it is, you feel that maybe now something interesting is going on and you are just unaware of it. So you need to check. You have this urge to check it.
My FOMO is so strong. I own it. Like, okay, I don't deny my FOMO is horrible, but yeah. So, okay, fear of missing out, screen time. What else can be a part of this addiction?
You mean like bad consequences?
Not the consequences, but how do we know that a person is addicted? So if a person is constantly on the phone, is afraid to miss out, what else can be the sign of it?
Apart from that, I think it's an outlet of your emotions sometimes, your thoughts throughout the day. Because, if we talk about Facebook, for example, which is, I suppose, the number one social networking site in the Philippines. And we as Filipinos, we're very expressive. Yeah. And we make Facebook as our diary. Sometimes we just write down our thoughts like, oh my God, this weather is sucking the life out of me. It's too hot right now. Or in my case, sometimes I would, give my opinion like, I hope the people in the Philippines will blah, 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 some political comments again. Or my emotion at the time, like, I feel so happy today. I feel so blessed.
I know.
And then I include a photo, apart from the caption itself.
I think Facebook has actually made it quite easy because you can use the there are several buttons of feelings, I think.
Right,
so you may
right.
say, you may see in the news like, Ken is feeling excited.
Exactly.
And then a picture if you want to add the picture. Or
Right.
let's say Cindy is feeling sad. So something like that.
So apart from, social networking sites acting as like a photo album, which you have already mentioned earlier, it's also like your online diary. Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah, and speaking of this signs that you're addicted, once I was reading a book, paperback book, and then I found this idea that I want to like some thought on this book, and I can't do it. And it got me frustrated. And then I understood that maybe I'm a bit addicted to social networking sites. You just can't like anything that you like in real life.
That is true. I also have noticed this. I do not know if that's a sign of being addicted to social media or to your phone in general, but I bet we all have been there. When we are somewhere, we go out with our friends, and that we see that our friends, or maybe us, just looking at our phones. And you're like, guys, we are here to, communicate, to socialize, to interact. Come on.
That is the negative consequence of being too dependent on, not just even the phone, but electronic gadgets in general, because they have such things, social networking sites that actually make us connected with others to a point that you're already in front of a friend, you're having dinner, but you're busy using your phone, which is, that's actually rude, but people don't notice that because you see, they're not even aware that it's wrong to do that.
Because they're also on their phone.
Exactly.
But we have tried it once or twice, I think, my friends and I. So when we were out and we were having a dinner or something, so we made a little rule like, okay, when the food is there, you're allowed to take pictures because come on. But then we put the phones on the corner of the table, or screens down, and whoever checks the phone...
Oh, you played this game, like phone stack game.
Kind of, yeah. So whoever checks the phone has to buy drinks for the whole company. And if you're in the US, it's like 4 people, it's at least $45. Nobody is ready to pay $45, just because they check their phone. So that worked. We had one exception though, which was if you have like a screen up, if your mom calls, like you can answer. Like in this case, it's a must.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I started at some point I started to look into that and try to analyze my own behavior in terms of social network usage. And I've realized that I was guilty of the same thing. So I was in a coffee shop with somebody, but then I was looking at my phone, checking the news feed, and I just had to stop myself. Like, no, I'm interacting right now. Quality time, like we time. No. But that is so difficult to do.
I don't think that I have this problem, for example, because when I'm with people, I'm with people. And I think this is way more precious to really interact, to really socialize than to post like you are socializing.
So we can clearly see an example of a non-addicted person, Masha, and a very addicted person.
Well, I am addicted, but when I am with people, I just forget about it. So, which makes me think that maybe I am addicted to social networking sites or to my phone when I'm like bored or when I am very very tired, very like busy at work. It's just a kind of distraction for me. But when I'm on holiday, for example, I don't tend to use my phone a lot.
Ooh.
Just for taking pictures, of course. Pictures,
well, but that would be like keeping memories.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So so we spend a lot of time on our phones. We have a huge screen time or somewhat big screen time. But how can we reduce this? So how can we reduce the screen time? What can we do?
Well,
that's a very good question because
asking for a friend.
That's actually quite difficult. And before I, answer that question, I just want to address one more thing. It's not just about not having a face-to-face interaction and being busy with your phone while you're having a gathering, right, with people, but it's also about going to concerts, because I don't know if you notice that a lot of people who go to concerts, they have their phone on. Instead of enjoying the moment, they tend to see, the concert itself from the screen, this is insane, because what the heck, you're here. You're supposed to be enjoying your time.
I also have questions to those who record this and post it. Like, are you seriously going to rewatch it later? Like, please.
And let me add, apart from that, whenever I travel, and I noticed that last year when I was in St. Petersburg, so as I was walking around, I kept taking photos and, recording videos. And I thought, what the heck? I am enjoying, all these places from my screen. And then I, thank God I realized that. And then for a while, I stopped it and I said, okay, no phones, no cameras, just look at the damn thing and just feel it, okay?
Live in the moment, yeah.
Exactly. So,
yeah, I agree.
Well, going back to your question, if you could remind me, I'm so sorry.
How can we reduce the screen time and become less addicted?
It's easier said than done, but it comes with self-discipline. You have to know within yourself that you have, as I've said, and I know it sounds like a cliche, but you have to live in the moment. You have to, but then again, you have to identify it first within yourself that you are doing it. Otherwise, without the recognition that you are actually doing it, then you won't change it at all. It's the same with other kinds of addiction. Unless you admit to yourself that you are an alcoholic, then you will not do anything about it.
True.
Yeah, for example, it reminds me of my addiction to sweet things. And like every time I open my fridge, it's not because I'm hungry, but because I'm bored or stressed or tired. And it's the same about phones, I guess.
Have you ever heard about such a thing as digital detox?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So what does that involve?
Like to be clean for a day or for a weekend, like to be off all social networks for some time.
I think that's a good idea to have a bit of a digital detox. But at the same time, I realized that, for example, I will never be able to just turn off my phone and go like do things or not use social networks. But if I do that, starting with baby steps, maybe an hour, then 2 hours, then 3 hours, who knows? Maybe after that, I can actually not use my phone for the whole day or for the whole weekend. And I have a tip for those who also get distracted a lot by social media. That, again, comes from the fact that I have this digital well-being app and function on my phone. Because together with the screen time, it shows how many times I unblocked my phone and how many notifications I have got. So average, just hear me out, average amount of notifications per day is 260.
Wow.
260. When I post something, for example, I post 3 stories and let's say 1 post on Instagram, then it can get up to 500 notifications per day.
Wow.
500. And every time you have a notification, no matter what you do, you're tempted to look at it. It may be something unimportant like weather. It may be a notification from your bank like, hey, check out your spendings for the week. But it's still something that distracts you from what you are doing. And I was reading this book about, it wasn't so much about time management, but it was about how to get more things done. It's called Jedi Techniques, to those who are interested. And it was actually addressing the problem of getting distracted by notifications. And I thought, why don't I change the functions in my phone so that I don't get notifications from things that are not important.
Right.
So, or you can block the notifications. You still get the messages, you still get whatever, but without notifications.
Yeah, that's what I do.
So, and I have realized that it actually might work. So it's like it can be the first step to reducing this, this addiction, overdependence.
And
yes.
at least you don't get stressed every time the phone screen starts to shine.
I also know that people who are addicted to their phones, again, not that I am addicted. Yes, I am. They tend to have some sleep problems because of looking at the blue screen, which keeps our brain kind of awake. So, and I found this app. I'm afraid I don't remember the name, but the darker it gets and the later it gets, the dimmer the light is. So by nighttime, it turns totally black. So you can't actually look at it, if you're not in the darkness, if you're not sleeping. And then you kind of like, okay, it's dark. So I don't need the blue screen. I can just go to sleep. So you're not as tempted to stay awake, because I have found myself so many times just, scrolling Instagram newsfeed, and especially the recommendations, the TikTok videos on Instagram until like 3 a.m. And then I was like, Jesus, what am I doing?
Which reminds me of your question you previously asked, which are the signs that we are addicted? Sleeping with your phone beside you. This is the sign that we are addicted, I guess.
Amen.
So what if we talk a little bit more about the negative consequences of being addicted? So sleeplessness can be one of them. Addiction in itself is terrible. So, but what can be other negative effects of it, negative consequences?
Of social networking sites, yeah.
Of being addicted. Of social networks in general. Okay, let's talk about not being addicted, but social networks.
Yeah, because we are not addicted.
Yeah, we're not. No, we're not.
This is about people are maybe unaware of it, but they become jealous of other people's success, or not just success, but the material possessions of other people. As you scroll down your phone, I mean on your screen, and then you look at, a friend of mine has been to this country for his or her holiday, which sometimes I feel that, especially when in winter, and
when you're
I'm
stuck in
suffering
Siberia,
here in Siberia, and I see some friends that, oh my God, I wish I could go there now. So you see, it creates some kind of sadness because you don't have what others have at that moment. Or it could be a bit of like jealousy, as I've said, because come on, let's face it. Some people, maybe they're not that happy that others are ahead of them in life, that they possess certain things, or that they have a more beautiful, long-lasting marriage. It's like, you understand what I mean.
I do. Do you think that leads to, in turn, that leads to lower self-esteem?
True.
Because you look at, those people who have perfect bodies, who have, a better job. And
exactly.
Well, let me disagree, maybe.
Go ahead.
To some extent. I agree when you were speaking about traveling. Yeah, that's what can really make me sad. Like everybody's somewhere else and I'm here in the middle of Siberia. Yeah, that is sad. But when it comes to like perfect bodies or perfect marriages or, perfect meals that people eat, I somehow realize that it's not necessarily true. That is, in most cases, it's just fake, like 50% of fake.
But then again, you understand that as an adult. How many teens are out there who do not? And come on, very often, or sometimes we look at it and we still this little thought crawls into our mind saying, but you don't have it. You don't.
Yeah, but we all know, I'm sorry, we all know how content is being created. Yeah. For example, when we want to make a good picture, we know that we need to put effort into it. And so we realize that other people also put some effort. And initially it was maybe not so beautiful.
Maybe.
And then I just want to add something to what she said about fake, like photos or videos, whatever, because with that, it also sends a wrong message to people. And if you're not as discerning, as mature, wiser people, you would take it as the truth. I mean, not everyone has the gift maybe of wisdom.
Critical thinking.
Exactly. And so they just accept things as they are. Like, for example, if I were overweight, and I'm like a teenage overweight, regardless of the gender, okay? And I see, wow, sexy bodies, like this is something that I will never be able to achieve. Something like that. So it affects my self-esteem. So that is another negative consequence. Going back to your question.
I would also add one negative consequences that I have faced myself, which is imposter syndrome. So, which is...
You mean being a teacher?
Being a teacher, yes. So because imposter syndrome, you know what that is. When you are underestimating maybe or devaluing your own achievements by thinking that you were lucky, that it was pure luck. And I am experiencing this basically on a daily basis because I follow a lot of teachers on Instagram because, I get inspiration, ideas, and that's all lovely. But then I see some teachers who have, those Delta certificates, all 3 modules, or they have got this certificate, they have done this, they take part in conferences, they do this. And I think, that's so cool, but they are such great teachers and I'm not. Then, of course, I try to think back like, no, wait, stop. You have students who have, reached their goal because of you. Well, in some way, but you have done this and this. But then again, this lasts maybe shorter time.
So it frustrates you.
It does. Of course, you need to be able to self-analyze, to make some reflection on yourself. But what if you don't know how to do that? So this imposter syndrome just eating you.
Yeah, I guess it can be the thing. But for me, it is like vice versa. I mean, when I follow some teachers who I admire on Instagram, let's say, or on VK or somewhere, I am happy to see that what I am doing is fine. What I'm doing is all right, because these mature teachers do the same thing. It means that I'm okay.
It works both ways for me, both the positive and negative. The positive is that I am inspired, like, okay, so that can be done as well. So, okay, I'm gonna, borrow your ideas and I'm going to implement them. So on the one hand, it gives me inspiration, yeah? On the other hand, I also know for a fact, okay, I'm going to be specific here. Like in the Philippines, there is one particular teacher who, he's very successful career-wise, but he also has the tendency to show off that I've been to this conference. And then, what he does is that he publishes all his certificates. It's like, this is what I did. This is what what I've accomplished. I mean, okay, so if you're happy with that, why not? You can share it to the world. But because I know the person and he has the tendency to, again, show off. So it's like, for me, it's like, oh, come on. Like, I don't even care about your, achievements whatsoever. It's not because I'm jealous, okay? Just to be clear. It's just that because I know the person.
Sure. And it's not the certificates which create a great teacher.
Exactly.
So we can say that some social networks, or sometimes social networks, can be very toxic in a way. And what if we talk about negative consequence connected with the ethics? So have you noticed how, especially recently, I think this has happened a lot within the last year, how different bloggers, vloggers, whoever, they do something horrible, borderline violent, to get more followers, to get the hype.
Yeah, for example, like some disgusting challenges, like on TikTok, I guess it was, I'm sorry to say, like, pee your pants challenge.
I have never heard about that.
Yeah.
But
disgusting.
That's absolutely disgusting.
I know some cases like when I don't remember the vlogger or where he was from, but he kicked out his girlfriend outside to see how he begs to get inside. So it's winter
That's
time.
even more disgusting.
So it's violent, like pure violence, actually. So and then he finally let her in, and he was making videos like of her crying. And if I'm not mistaken, she even died later on because of the hypothermia.
Well, speaking of which, people die from doing such stunts, yeah? I know that they do that to have more, subscribers, if we talk about YouTube, or maybe followers on Instagram or whatever social media platform, you do that. And personally, I feel it's really pathetic.
It is.
If that's your only way to catch people's attention.
But then again, like, okay, fine. You want to do that, take a selfie on top of a building crane. Fine, you risk your life. But sometimes people risk other people's lives. So they are putting others in danger just for mere likes or followers or whatnot. So, which is, sounds a little bit psychotic maybe, or...
Yeah.
Not normal. Even today in the morning, I was scrolling through the news feed, and I saw an article on our local news website that one Novosibirsk blogger, so he had an expensive car, a very expensive car, and he crashed it and filmed it, and it was like several million worth car because he didn't have enough followers. So apparently he had made a bet several months before that he would get 20 million or somewhat million followers before the new year. So, and he's far from that.
Right.
So he crashed it. So he crashed the car, then he put some coal in it and burnt it. Then somebody took the crane there, so he just destroyed it, and he was filming the whole thing. And then he said to his followers that if I get 20 million followers by the end of January, I think it is, that I'm going to buy a brand new Lamborghini and crash it and film it.
Well, it's his money.
But this is just so
ridiculous.
Yes.
And pathetic.
That's what we can call real addiction. So we are really not addicted after all.
So do you think that something should be done and the content should be strictly regulated, so not in order for these things not to happen, especially like, okay, maybe not with the car, but with putting other people in danger? So can something be done with it on maybe a higher authoritative level?
Well, I think it should be done. I think it should be regulated, but I just maybe don't know how. But yeah, there should be some restrictions, limits, prohibitions.
Maybe there should be like, some punishment for it, like on a legal level.
Right. You know what? I'm glad that you brought that up because I think we are somehow creating a conversation for people to be aware. And it's not just the people, ordinary citizens, but our respective governments to do something about this. Maybe because right now we're not paying much attention and it's mostly the social media companies, like YouTube or Facebook. They have their own, guidelines that you should follow. But then again, I don't think they have enough teeth, if you know what I mean. So there has to be some legislation involved. And by legislation, there has to be legal ways and consequences whenever you do something that is, extreme and can endanger not just your life, but somebody else's life. So I do hope that, in the near future, there will be concrete rules or laws for this for each country, not just internationally.
Actions,
yeah.
yes.
Otherwise, this will continue and people will continue to lose their lives
I hope this.
for no good reason.
Well, I don't want to end the podcast on this note. So how about we
sure.
talk about positive sides of social media? So
course.
let the final question that we discuss be a little bit more positive.
Sure.
So what are the positive sides of social media?
Well, staying connected, keeping in touch with people, with friends who live in different cities, maybe different countries, and sharing your news maybe to the world or to your closest circle of friends.
In addition, the news travels faster and you are up to date. Unlike before when we just relied on traditional media like the television, newspaper, the radio. The information traveled a little slower, but this time around it's faster. And that's one of the advantages because you can even see it real time while somebody is recording something and then he can immediately share it on his social networking account.
Yeah, which again can even save lives.
It can even save lives, which is, another advantage.
I would also add getting inspiration for, being more creative, be that professional life or be that your hobby or something. You can get ideas.
Yeah, right. You always need some examples to follow and to compare yourself to.
And I have one more thing that I would like to add. I have noticed the greatest side of Instagram, which is whenever you need to find something, you need help, you don't know where something is, where you can buy, I always ask the question on Instagram and I always get replies. So if I don't know how to do a certain thing, I do not know where to get something, I know I can depend, I can rely on my Instagram followers. They help all the time. And that's fantastic.
Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely.
All right. Oh, I'm so happy. So that was the Big Apple School podcast. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Masha. So today we discussed social media and the consequences of it. And we briefly talked about all different aspects. So we said what social networks we use, which ones we do not use, which ones we do not understand much, whether we are addicted to social media, what our screen time is, what are the negative effects of social media and how to eliminate them, and what are the positive effects of social media. And a little request to our listeners. So if you have listened till the end, please post some emoji and tell us what is your favorite social media and how much time you spend on it, because we would like to know more about you. So thank you for listening. And remember, if you struggle to understand our conversation, you are always welcome to our website, which is bigappleschool.com/podcast. You can find full scripts of each episode of our podcast there. You can read them while listening. Cool, right? Also, if you want to get more content, which will help you learn English, you can follow us on the social media such as Instagram, VK, not TikTok, but YouTube, Telegram, and so on. Just search our name, which is again, Big Apple School. So that was Katja, and my guests for today were
Ken from the Philippines.
and
And Maria from Russia.
stay tuned, and we'll see you around.